Howdy folks, I'm Daredevil Southern Dogface, doggedly dodging dangerous dogs.
I'm Amber.
And here are more dangerous dogs for us to dodge, and as a butterfly, many things are dangerous for us. So let's get started, including Reddit. Alright folks, and our first letter is titled, My wife says that I need to get over it, but I can't stop obsessing over a prank that ruined my wedding experience and left me furious. I had an amazing wedding experience that was completely ruined by a prank that my wife and friends played along during the garter removal. Am I the jerk for refusing to let this go? During the reception, we were all doing the usual wedding games. Eventually, I was told that it was time to do the garter removal. As everyone gathered around us in the middle of the dance floor, my wife was sitting in the chair and my friends brought out a blindfold and told me that I would be doing the garter removal blindfolded. I should have been suspicious at their grins, but I had had some drinks and I wasn't suspecting anything. I put it on and I tried to be a good sport about it, as everyone seemed like they were having a great time, myself included. As soon as I was blindfolded, however, my wife slipped out of the chair and was replaced by one of my groomsmen. He's a friend of the family that I've grown up with, but I would not say that we are close. Now, I literally can't even stand him, although he's not a bad guy, other than my anger at this prank. Sitting in the chair in place of my wife, my groomsman was in shorts with the garter around his thigh. My wife stood behind him and was talking to me as they walked me over, to keep me fooled into thinking that it was her. On their instruction, I got down on my knees and I began reaching for what I thought was my wife's leg. Once I found the leg, I found the garter and I began pulling it down. But at that moment, I heard my wife say, "With your mouth, with your mouth." So I leaned forward and I grasped the garter in my mouth, and to the shrieks and applause of the crowd. With the garter in my teeth, I pulled it down his leg, and then my wife actually came around to help me get it over his shoe because it got stuck. Well, once I had the garter, they told me to stand up and take off my blindfold. When I did, I was smiling because I thought that I had been a good sport and everyone was laughing so hard it seemed like everyone was having a great time. But when I took off the blindfold, everyone burst out into even louder laughter. For a moment, the entire energy of the wedding and everyone at the wedding was focused on nothing besides laughing at me being the sole butt of the joke. It felt awful. I was furious. I wanted to say and do a million different things, but I didn't. For some reason, I just felt that pretending that it wasn't a big deal was the best defense, that showing anger would be confirming how badly I had just been humiliated for their delight, and that would have made my humiliation even worse. So I just got over it. I walked through the rest of the wedding while doing my best to keep a smile on my face. My wife could tell that I was stunned, but she kept on going too. She definitely had no idea how badly I was taking it. Everyone was standing around us, and we couldn't talk openly about how I felt, at least not without ruining everything. And I didn't know whether I wanted to go there at all after all the effort and money put into the wedding. And I kept bottling it up until the next day, and at brunch for the most part of the next week, through most of our honeymoon. And at some point, I told myself that my wife didn't mean to hurt me, and that there was no reason to ruin the wedding memories by telling her that the experience had been ruined for me. But then, at the end of our honeymoon, I had had a few drinks and I just couldn't help it. And once I started talking to her about it, I just went off. I told her that it was trashy, that it hurt, if not destroyed, my trust and sense of intimacy towards her. I was harsh and I got carried away. After at first apologizing a bit, she got upset and left me sitting out there. I think that I just kept going because I felt hurt and wanted to maybe make her feel bad as well, to be honest. Since then, it's been a difficult subject, and I've told her that I don't want to hear anything about the wedding. I don't want to write any thank you notes or look at any pictures. If it was tomorrow, I wouldn't even make plans to celebrate our anniversary. My wife and I have a lot of strengths in our relationship, but I can't just stop thinking about this and feeling like when I took off the blindfold. I literally cannot stop my mind from replaying it over and over, and I get mad every single time. And perhaps the worst part of it is that it's all recorded. We had a professional photographer shoot a video, and in the video, I see at least 4 other people recording on their phones. Watching the video, I find myself looking at the laughing faces of family and friends in the video. And there's a part of me that I would never act on that wants nothing more than to punch them all in the faces. The fact that I know that these videos are out there makes it feel like it's constantly happening to me. My wife says that she's sorry and that she thought that I would take it better and laugh it off, and that I need to move on. I think that maybe I am the jerk. No good is coming out of obsessing over this, but I literally can't let it go. I find myself coming up with reasons to be angry. I tell myself that sometimes it was assault because I was tricked into putting my mouth on another man's leg without my consent. But I think that's just me rationalizing my anger. I don't know. Edit, thank you all for your responses. I am digesting, and I have to say that I'm genuinely feeling a lot better just sharing this, even if some of you don't think that I'm in the right. I'm definitely not as angry as I was when I wrote this, so there's that. Although it does come and go, in response to some of the questions. 1, yes, I created this account to share this. I'm not an AI or a bot. I genuinely don't know what karma farming is, but if anyone wants my karma, they can have it. 2, it was a wedding planner who originally proposed the idea. She had done it at other weddings apparently, and she coached my wife and friends on how to do it. To drape her dress over his lap and to stand behind him talking to me. He was wearing his same groomsman shirt and coat, but had changed into shorts, a stocking, and some flip-flops. 3, my groomsman is now my brother-in-law because he's married to my wife's older sister. What I meant to say is that he's a good guy and that we grew up together and that I like him, but I don't consider him a best friend at the time. And now I'm no longer even thinking of him as a friend, in large part because I'm mad at him. I don't think there's a reason that they picked him, other than he's thin like my wife. 4, I believe my wife when she said that she thought that it would just be funny and that I wouldn't mind. I just don't think that she thought of it from my perspective when it came to concluding that this was a funny thing to do. Sometimes I tell myself that this is what I'm mad at. It just keeps changing, really. And 5, a lot of people keep asking what I expected my wife to do, but apologize now. I don't have a good answer to that, and I need to think about what that means. And 6, my favorite comment thus far is the guy who told me to wash the sand out of my vagina. Haha, fair play. All right, folks, what do you think?
No, not the jerk. I understand why OP is feeling hurt and violated. They were put in a vulnerable position with someone they thought was their partner and wasn't, and this was filmed. And so those videos exist out there for, whoever has them to see.
Mm-hmm.
And that is like an extra layer of ick on top of this. This is the kind of thing, like, I don't know why the wedding planner would suggest this. Like, it is such a flip of expectations. Not everyone wants to be getting intimate like that with their brother-in-law, and it shouldn't just be assumed that OP would consent to that.
Yeah, I mean, this is not a good situation. If you're not comfortable with something like this, then it's not good that they put him through this. And, like, I understand where OP is coming from here. I think that they have a lot of hard thinking to do about what they want out of this relationship and what they want to continue to do. They should, in the meantime, I think, seek therapy and go and talk to a therapist, because a therapist is going to have a lot better insights than a Reddit post.
Well, that's what I was going to say, is that I think, processing what happened is going to be helpful to have a therapist who specializes in this sort of thing. I mean, because lots of people, there may not be therapists who specialize in wedding pranks, in particular, but who specialize in people who have been in situations where they feel like their boundaries have been violated and they feel like they've been put in an uncomfortable and vulnerable position.
Yeah, well, a trauma-informed therapist should be able to work with OP. It sounds like OP does have some trauma, maybe even some PTSD from this situation, and I think that that would be a really good idea for them to seek a therapist who is informed in trauma responses and be able to work with them through that.
Because it's completely understandable at this stage that OP wouldn't know how to proceed forward, because your brain has, all kinds of stuff going on in it that you're still trying to process.
Mm-hmm.
And so I understand that the wife feels remorse and wants to know how to move forward, but this is not the kind of thing you can just forget about.
Well, the problem here is, like, you can't just make trauma go away.
Exactly. Like, it would be great if you could just snap your fingers and trauma was gone, but that's not how it works.
And you never know what's going to traumatize someone, right? One thing might be really fine for one person. Like, if Amber had done something like this to me, I probably would have figured it out and bit the person just out of, hilarity. But I would have been fine and it wouldn't have bothered me. And it probably wouldn't have bothered a lot of people, right? And this may be why the wedding planner, suggested it, because they might have been like, oh, haha, everyone will get a good kick out of it. It usually raises a lot of laughter, right? But there are some people who this would be a traumatizing thing for, and they have very, closed off boundaries. They don't like to share their personal space with people. And, doing that would be a violation of their, personal bubble and whatnot, and their feeling of safety, right? And that's the reality of it. You really need to know someone really, really well before you do something like this, because you just don't know how somebody is going to react, right?
Well, that's the thing. It's like, I think even if you know someone well, like hopefully Opie's wife knows them well. Clearly they didn't know them well enough. And so like you really need consent for this kind of thing.
So it's unfortunate, and I think that I feel bad for OP because it's a really tough situation. If they love their wife, then I think they need to go into couples therapy together. OP needs to go into individual counseling, and they can work through this. It was clearly not meant as a malicious thing, and so I think that OP should try to work things out with their wife at all possible. But
Yeah.
if they feel like they just can't get over this, and that there's nothing that they can do to salvage this marriage, and that all they ever think about is this situation, then I guess maybe this might be one of those things where you have no choice but to end the marriage, right? And the relationship. And that's going to have to be something that OP works on and works through with a therapist over, the next several months.
Yeah. But I think, getting started in individual therapy is really going to be the most helpful thing for OP to even figure out, do I want to continue with this relationship or not, and how do I want to move forward with my life?
But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Not Backing My Wife When She Grounded Our Daughter? So here's what happened. Our daughter, for the story, is named Lily, a 15-year-old female. She was supposed to go to a piano lesson last Thursday. Instead, she texted her mom last minute saying that she was sick and she didn't want to go. Turns out that she went to the park with her friends and posted it on all of her private stories like we're dumb and don't have cousins watching. Well, my wife went nuclear. She grounded her for 2 weeks, took her phone, canceled her weekend plans, the whole it's my house, my rules package. I get it, lying isn't okay, but I kind of get Lily too. She has been busting her butt at school, sports, piano, everything. She asked us a week ago if she could take a break from piano lessons this month, and my wife shut her down hard. You don't get to quit things just because you're tired. That's her thing. So when I found out what Lily did, I pulled her aside and said, hey, just next time be honest. I'll try to talk to mom about giving you more space. I didn't punish her. And yeah, I might have told my wife that she was being a little too strict. Now she's mad at me, saying that I undermined her, that I'm making her look like the good cop, bad cop situation household. But all I want was for our kid to feel heard instead of just being punished. Am I the jerk for not backing her up on this one? All right, folks, what do you think?
Yeah, not the jerk. I mean, it's clear that the daughter is under a lot of stress and pressure that has been imposed upon her. Kids need to be able to have, especially at 15, to have some level of self-determination. If the lessons just aren't working out for her at this point in time, maybe it's time that she be able to drop them. You shouldn't just push and push and push kids to the point where they feel like they have to lie to get out of it.
Well, and that's the problem I have here, right? Is that she is pushed so hard that at this point in time, the only way to get out of it, she feels like, is to use deception. And so the mother has really given her no choice but to use deception in this particular case, right? And the more that the mom pushes, the more likely it's going to be that she's going to, lie about these things, right? And like the punishment here feels a little disproportionate to the crime itself, right? Maybe the punishment should have been you have to practice piano, for 2 more hours or something like that, right? Which I'm not even saying is great because it sounds like she's burnt out.
Well,
but
yeah, that's it. Honestly, I feel like she doesn't need punishment here.
No.
What she needs is her parents to listen to her and take her needs into comparison. A 15-year-old is still a child.
Yeah.
They need time to have fun with their friends and be a child. They shouldn't just be always work, school and lessons and everything. And if she's not getting time to just be a kid, that's a big problem.
Yeah. I think there could have been a compromise here where the mom said, well, I don't want you taking the whole month off, but, why don't we give you a week off if you're feeling this burnt out, and we'll see how you're feeling in a week, right? Because sometimes if it's something that you really like and enjoy, just even taking a week off from it is enough to kind of get you re-inspired to get back into it, right? And, taking a month off honestly isn't the end of the world, right? Like, sure, you can lose a lot of that muscle memory and stuff like that, but she's also young and has probably been doing this for a very long time, and so it's probably not going to be the end of the world if this isn't something that she does, every day or something like that, right?
Right. Well, and unless she wants to be a professional pianist, why does it matter? Like, it's good to have hobbies and to have, creative outlets. But if this is not serving her, if it's not bringing her joy, if it's something that's become a chore and that she dreads, that's not good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and maybe there's some other instrument or something like that that she would rather play. It's a hard situation. I mean, I think that it's one of those things where you really just need to give kids time and space when they ask for it, because otherwise, it's just going to make things harder. And this is even like a student who seems to be, for all intents and purposes, a high achiever, right? She needs time and space and not to be burnt out. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And Banned Bookworm says, I had a very similar experience with my parents as a teenager. I never heard about any fallout between them over it, but I know that my dad immediately corrected my mom's behavior. And it made the whole event a lot less distressing for me. Like Lily, I was a good kid, under a lot of pressure, and really just needed some grace to be told how to handle the situation better in the future. For example, not lie. You shouldn't back your wife up unconditionally, but you should try to talk to her before you contradict her to your daughter. But I don't think that it's your responsibility to justify or co-sign irrational behavior that's going to unnecessarily distress your teenage daughter. And Backshifter says, and teens remember how stuff feels more than the exact details. Like they might forget what they lied about or what rules got broken, but they'll remember if a parent made them feel heard or crushed them. When one parent shows empathy, even if they say, you messed up, it builds trust with her instead of fear, and that sticks with you for a lot longer. And Acrobatic Ear 6773 says, this is how you get sneaky kids. And Revolutionary Yak 47 says, former sneaky kid here. Yep, if this is real, OP needs to grow a spine and stick up for his daughter, or she will be cashing in college money to move out to live with their stoner boyfriend and skipping college at 18. If you drop before the deadline, you can send the tuition/loan refund to yourself. Not that I would know how to do that. I mean, that's a pretty big assumption there.
Yeah, it is, but I do think that it's important for the parents to think about what kind of relationship do they want with the daughter long term. Do they want one where she feels supported or where she can come to them?
Mm-hmm.
Or do they want one where she feels judged? I mean, because even, if she doesn't go like completely that route, she may still find herself in a situation where, maybe she lied to do something and now she feels like she can't get herself out of it because her parents won't support her.
Yeah. All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here, and Amber, she has a joke.
Who leads away the pastries of greedy bakers with his tune?
Oh, that would be the Pied Piper of the bakery.
Yeah, the pie piper.
Yeah, the Pie Piper or the Donut Piper.
And it's National Homemade Pie Day.
Oh, so go find yourself a homemade pie in one of those picnic baskets. Boo-boo!
Yeah, do not steal people's picnic baskets. It's also National Water Balloon Day. So maybe if you're going to the park for a picnic, arm yourself with some water balloons in case Brian comes by to steal your picnic basket.
You wouldn't want to do that to a smarter than the average bear now, would you? And I have Mega Mint. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy Friday. Can you believe it? Fantastic Friday. We're at the end of the week, folks. I can't believe it. I know that for sure. Amber, we need some kind of moral advice and or guidance, and please have it on being a parent.
Make sure to give your kids space and grace to make mistakes.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye.